There's a Rusty on board in a serious game, chat. This is round 3 between two players that are competing for top 8 berths. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. If you can't tell by my more animated demeanor, even more so than usual, we have something in store for you. Welcome to the nightmare. Welcome to Random's Thoughts. It's time for Fright Night. It is time. We are actually underway. In fact, we are well into round 1. Now, full disclosure at the start, I am, of course, a content affiliate, and we are officially getting prizes from the Smoking Gun Interactive team, which is awesome. This is our 3rd Fright Night event, but the first one where we're actually going to have prizes, and players are competing for some awesome swag. And there's some secrets in store that I'm going to be letting you know in just a few moments. But, okay, it's round 3 of Fright Night, folks. We're zoning in here with our blue player, aTrend, and our orange player, PlayerHimself. Both very strong players in their own rights here on Xylo. We'll have to see what they end up doing, what cool strategies do they have in store for us. In this particular case, aTrend is actually opening up with Snowball into Bank, which is absolutely unique on this particular map. That is not something you commonly see. Now, compared to players getting a more standard opener. I'm not a huge fan of the Gesundheit in virtually all scenarios, but here especially, this one's a little weird. But the Snowball, due to its mobility, is going to allow still evening up of the panic points here. And then the Crushmore follow-up, which I do appreciate the bank for from our blue player, is coming out pretty early. That means that you are going to be able to break this block or break other ones, set up blocks yourself if you need to, and allow for a lot more map control. Plus, it's a lobber. Lobbing means that you're going to be able to safely eliminate the phobie on this particular center panic point if you need to. Now, players bringing out the old and trusty Honey Bear. Honey Bear, our favorite tardigrade, I'm assuming it's supposed to be a tardigrade, shows up and in this case is able to lock off 2 panic points if necessary. Of course, you could always try and turn off a stim or lava or something else, but what we saw it put to good use in a previous Xylo game was, in fact, turning off double panic points. This is pretty cool. Now, the supplement of the forces for blue player are Cat and Gonzo. Gonzo is a little abnormal, but here can be very powerful. But here you see the Honey Bear vomit coming out. The disrespectful vomit, as we had that discussion earlier. Is there a way to respectfully vomit on someone? Let me know down in the comments, YouTube. Or come by the live stream. Let me know on chat. RTChompGG on Twitch. Links in the description, just like the Discord. But in the meantime, it's a 3-to-1 panic point advantage until Crushmore advances. It should survive all this, question mark, because it's going to get double hits here, hit here, hit here. Keep in mind that everything is level 1. My throat is actually starting to hurt. I've been doing a lot of talking. A lot more talking, trying to be a lot more animated because we're having fun here. It has been a lot of fun, but it has been a lot of work. So we do see a bunch of hits going down, additional lobs supplementing players' forces. It's actually even panic points right now because remember, this is disabled thanks to the vomit from the Honey Bear. But this may have been some... Whoa, really? We get the power up from Gonzo, but not to hit the Hevo. Instead to eliminate the Gin Sting, which now frees up this spot to guard the enemy stim. So this is damage, right? Yeah, it's down to 1,000 health, took 700 damage so far. But we do have a follow-up 1 key in order to trade out or ultimately replace the cat that will get traded out. Eliminating the Gesundheit is interesting, but we get a spider showing up on both players' sides. The spider here is a little weird for player because this spider can't threaten this Crushmore this turn. It just won't be able to get into position. Why is this Snowball going here? Okay. So the Snowball is vacating in order to allow the Crushmore to get there. And the Noxious follows up. And the Noxious is bane of my existence. Although I think Noxious, I mean, it's like, look, Noxious is sporting the Random's Thoughts colors. Neon green and black are the Random's Thoughts colors. And this is... I love Noxious. It's also a cool dragon. I like poison effects in various games, but Noxious is the bane of my existence. We'll see if it turns out to be the Achilles heel for player here. So we do get the double vomit going down, double as in covering these 2 panic points, so now it's a 2-to-1 panic point advantage despite what you see under the mud. There's a rust timeout. There's a Rusty on board in a serious game. There's a Rusty on board in a serious game, chat. This is round 3 between 2 players that are competing for top 8 berths. What are we seeing here? What are we seeing? So we get a yoink onto the Hevo. It ends up on lava. The opposing Hevo is on the stim. You get hits from Gonzo. This is presumably a dead Hevo. Presumably a dead Hevo. Was that even necessary? I don't want to rewind the whole turn, but it feels like the lava... I assume the lava wouldn't get it. aTrend's a solid player. I doubt they wouldn't have just failed to check that. That's something I would do. So we get the yoink on the Noxious, not the opposing spider, which is relevant because this spider could die, and that would leave a yoink on our blue player side and not our orange player. So the question is the Rusty... Yep, the Rusty is going to lock the Hevo in place for a couple turns, which while it's on this stim is threatening, it also means that it can't necessarily dodge all of the mean things that are going to happen, namely the return of the spider yoink. If the spider lives, that is. We get a Blastomatic follow-up. This Crushmore is going to be pretty close to healing up. We do, in fact, get the Droney to prevent the yoink here, which is a great heads-up play by aTrend here, because otherwise, while you are immobilized by Rusty, you can still get yoinked by a displacement effect from your opponent. Rusty plus Moffat is very tricky on this map. It showed up last night, Moscow. I think it was player was trying it against me last night, and it turned out pretty solid. Turned out pretty solid. But the spider does go down as predicted. We get the Blastomatic with a pew-pew laser going in order to eliminate not just the Droney, but also ultimately the spider, thanks to help from Jinsting. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool play. I like that play, and these are the sort of things that I think everybody wrote off Rusty as garbage, and now we're seeing Rusty put in work. Like, that was a solid play. If the spider was still alive, or if a couple other things went a little bit differently, this could be a dead Hevo, and it could have been, a really snowbally thing. But at this stage, we're a little past halfway through the game, and there's a lot of things dying on orange player side. 2 keys to keep Hevo on the stem. Well, there were other things planned. And ultimately, this Hevo died. Yeah, it's a dead Hevo. You traded spiders out. You also got a Droney for the Rusty, so that's even already. This exchange down here is either even or it favors player. I'm not sure. But ultimately, like the loss of the jar here and things like that, it makes it a little dicier. Plus, of course, now that you have this Crushmore on the invade, it means that you can't necessarily get the Honey Bear back in to vomit on things. However, it is still a life advantage for our orange player. They may have gotten a little too panicked. I don't know. Panic isn't the right word, but a little anxious about the board state when you didn't necessarily need to. So just like that with the vacating Crushmore, don't even need a Clinico or anything. The healing spa alleviates the poison. We get a Blasto invade onto the lava. This is interesting because it's 2, 3, 4 hits, possibly 4 with the Temptress, which means extra damage. This could be a dead I keep wanting to say Hevo, but it's a Blasto. Okay, they're not. They're going to just poke and retreat, it looks like. 0 keys for both players. They need to do it with the 5 Phobies they have, respectively. Oh, the Blasto is going in. Get a little bees action in order to secure the demise of the Gonzo Bonzo. Now, at this stage, 1,700 health. This is going to be, 600, 700, 720 plus 420. So 1,100 plus 4 here. 15, and this is a dead Blasto if they want it. I had to double check it because I'm like, wait a minute, why? But it's a dead Blasto ultimately. It did result in the death of that Gonzo, but there isn't enough to follow this up, I don't think. We'll have to see if our blue player does elect to do it, but right now it looks like they see it. Oh no, Lufee. And down goes Blastomatic. Alright, chat, we're back. Just had to get some stuff squared away. We can talk about it later, but for now, we're going to jump back into the remainder of this game review. So, like I said, we had to take care of some administrative stuff, but we're jumping back in. Blastomatic, in fact, does go down. Not surprising, but we have a 600 damage Honey Bear. Just clobbering stuff. Pulverizing things. We do get a takedown on the Snowball, but at this stage, this is looking dicey. I can see we still have 9 turns left. 1,500 health to 58. This might be all the Phobies go down for our orange player. Because there's not many... Oh, look at that. The double kill from Temptress. How often do you see that? That is brutal. That is brutal. Double kill from Temptress? That's a highlight reel in and of itself. And hold on. Look at this turn. So we just got a somewhat aggressive invade in order to eliminate some Phobies from our orange player, but blue player is having none of that because look at that. Double kill. Temptress. Temptress. How often do you see Temptress? It's bonkers. It's bonkers. It's absolutely ridiculous. But we get the replacement here, so it is in fact a 2-to-1 panic point advantage for our orange player. I don't know about this one. You're down on Phobies. Your win condition is eliminating their heart, right? Yes, the Gin Sting dies, or will die. But retreating it doesn't do anything. If you get a second hit here, and the bees are not up, right? Bees are up. I think you hit the heart here. I think you hit the heart here. Your opponent is... Like, if they hunt down your Phobie, you can't fight their Phobies. You've given up the stim. I don't know. So where does this leave it? 745 health. It's just not quite enough damage, ultimately. Ultimately, too many healthy Phobies to really fight this. Too many Phobies to ultimately fight this. Oh, this thing only had 200 health. Just had 500? GG. I mean, at this stage, there's really no way for our orange player to claw this back, but well played, both players. There were some really cool plays in this game. There were definitely some really cool plays in this game. The heart ultimately ended up with 75 health. That's rough. That is rough. GG. Well played. Well, we're seeing some attractor plays, so we'll go with this. We got attractor plays. We've got attractor plays. So, we got Lufee zoning into the blue trunks and NekoKawaii zoning into the orange trunks here on Crypto. Now, Lufee is usually somebody who loves a good heart punch and some of the more abnormal Phobies, but in this case, Gravedigger Opener, fairly regular, and we get a equally normal response from our orange player. So we get a snowball follow-up from Lufee, which is not something that I kind of expected. It also may be vulnerable here. 180, 4, 7, 8. This is a dead snowball if they want it, I think. It's a dead snowball because, here we go, Murder Wing plus Meatball should kill it. Oh, actually, just the meatball kills it. Never mind. So 3 keys incinerated. And panic point advantage orange. So we'll have to see what Lufee can do to come back in this game, if they can. Bozo, the clown here, Bo Mangles, does in fact show up. But it's triple panic point, and I've seen, honestly, this surprised me a little bit. This is more meta commentary than game commentary. Specific game commentary. I've seen more pushes for triple panic points on this map than I remember when it was last in the pool. Because, like, this didn't have to happen. You could have just played 2-1 and then kept the spider. What is the spider going to do? I don't know, but it didn't have to die. But it does, in fact, die. And triple panic points, we get the Gravedigger sliding back. I'm not sure why. I guess there was a fear of a jar plus this plus Bo Mangles. But we get an erratic as the follow-up from Lufee, which makes me happy, I will say. But this is kind of what I was expecting, and I was a little surprised with the Gravedigger retreating, is that this block is going to go down, which now solidifies this defensive posture for the bottom point. Until this happens. Which maybe is what they planned, but then why move the Gravedigger all the way to the north? Like, nothing can get there. You know, like, what are they going to do? Walk their Gravedigger all the way to the top? And then you just kill it with Bo Mangles? Who cares? I don't know, it seemed weird. But we do get a Ginsting follow-up. 5 keys banked for our orange player. And Erratic is inching up. Slowly but surely. Lufee's playing this very patiently. Very patiently. Taking a bunch of heart damage. We're looking at 3,000 to 5,800. All the damage, well, maybe not all the damage, but the vast majority of the damage going down on the blue heart. Max Phobies now for our orange player. Filling things out with a creep. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Even if you just bank, I think that's better. I don't know what the creep is doing for you. Yeah, it'll poison the erratic, but who cares? This is also super dangerous. This does not end well immediately. This is moments before disaster. Let's see how this turn plays out. Oh no, never mind. Never mind. I lost track for a second because I'm getting tired because the stream has been going on for a while and trying to orchestrate the event. For a second, I thought Neko ended the turn with that configuration. I'm like, oh my god, this is that's why I said moments before disaster. So ignore all of that. Anyway, we still get the erratic to connect with Bo Mangles. It will get hit by creep, but again, who cares? The poison is not really enough to threaten it. Given the life leech, given the splash. This is a decent erratic map because it is very clustered, or it's very easy to force things to cluster. We get an invade. Is this somehow a dead attractor? Oh no, not like this. 80 health, not like this. Why? Oh no. Chat, this is moments before disaster. Ignore the previous one. We get an invade from the Ginsting. Then we get the Murder Wing going in. Little meatball action. But this attractor lives. Oh no. Let's see what a horrendous, heinous thing is about to happen. So we get a yoink on the Ginsting, pulls it onto lava. You now have things clustered. Double hits from erratic. Oh no. Triple kill! Oh, that is the ball game. That is the ball game. Oh. Oh. Chat, I felt that one. Alright. Desperation attempt, Hevo 3.0. Lufee is taking a clobbering on the heart, but this hurts. This is brutally painful. Really? Oh, okay, because you can move the jar down here. That's fair. Life is a resource, it's true. 2 turns remaining. Getting a hit. You could have invaded and gotten these 2 with the Hevo, but then you'd be susceptible to 4 hits from here, 2 of which are from Erratic. Like, that's bad news. Get the Yoink to pull it into range. Bunch of hits going down on the Hevo. On the last turn. I know I skipped through some of the turns on the other games because they were just decided, but this one was just like, oh no. GG. Well played. That was, oof. So Lufee's in chat saying that they did a lot of undoing there, ran out of time, I think. Probably, because there's no world in which you want to end on that board state. Now, realistically, the Attractor could have set up something heinous anyway, because that's what Attractor does. But, oh man, that one, like, physically hurt. All right, so our blue player is the NekoKawaii going up against Gamer 24/7. You may recognize some of these names because we've had a lot of heavy hitters here in Fright Night number 3. If you want to get in on Fright Night, check out the links in the description for the Discord, the live stream, my Twitter, my website, all that fun stuff. It's all in the description, and I say it every time. I'm getting tired of saying it. My throat's getting sore. But anyway, we're zoning in here on Exponential Decay, and of course, we're getting some fairly standard openers out of both players, kind of what you'd expect of strong players. Like I said, we have a lot of them running around this event, kicking butt and taking names. Or if you prefer, taking names and chewing bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum, or something like that. There may be other ways to phrase that, we'll say. But anyway, so after the standard openers, we get a Creep and Unicorn follow-up from our blue player. Panic Point Advantage goes blue, and the bank yields a Klepto for Gamer. I like Klepto a lot on this map. This is interesting. There's no way to clear the cat out and then get, like, the Creep onto the Murder Wing, which makes this positioning fairly safe. The trap positioning here is weird to me. I don't understand this at all. I don't understand this at all. Like, why is it back here? The invade is... I mean, I guess it clears the cat, but, like... I don't know. Seems weird. Weird how Gamer just let the wing happen. I assume, and that is notable, player, I assume what happened here is, A, the recap, and B, they really wanted to get Klepto online. If you value Klepto enough, and I could see it on this map, that makes sense. So we get the Klepto sliding up. The poison is on cooldown, although it wouldn't be able to reach it anyway. And the Rambolina follow-up means that you have to rearrange your Phobies. Now, that could be as simple as putting the Murder Wing behind the Hevo, just to ensure that it doesn't get booped into oblivion. How that would happen in this board state, it would get complicated, but it's not impossible. So instead, we're going to get a bunch of damage going down here. Get a bunch of damage going down, and a nearly dead Klepto. This can't stay, and we do, in fact, get a follow-up to protect the Hevo. It's a Noxious. We talked about Noxious in a different game earlier, but the Noxious here does represent a huge threat. Like I said, nearly dead Klepto, you can't boop anything into oblivion because the flyers will not end up, like, they're going to block it. But we do get a kill on the cat. Is that worth it? It does lead to a dead Murder Wing, and we have a damaged Hevo, nearly dead, and a damaged Noxious, but this is going to be a dead Klepto as a result. Panic Point Advantage still for our blue player. Panic Point Advantage still for our blue player. I feel like these games are fun because they're a nice split of serious to win, but also kind of hurry for time limits, so spicy. True. I agree. I like the arena element. I always go with the Creep followed by Casso to defend his player too, but I guess it's not necessary. We'll see. We'll see. I think I usually go Creep. And, like, I basically open what you're saying, player, something similar, but... So we're getting the beats going down on Rambolina. Obviously, the Klepto ate it. This Rambolina is not long for the world. It's not even going to get another boop off. In fact, it is dead. And suddenly, it's Murder Wing, Gin Sting, and Contortio versus all of this. All of this. It's messy. This feels like, yes, blue player is not crushing the game from a panic point perspective. You're not putting an enormous amount of pressure on orange player from a damage standpoint. But from a phobie pressure standpoint, this feels very difficult to commit into until now. Cleaned up a few different things, and all of a sudden, it's a damaged Hevo, a damaged Noxious, and Unicorn versus this. This seems fairly even. The Clinico will allow for some, different plays because you can get these things back online. The Hevo can't get poisoned, but you do have an AoE damage, and now, Erratic. I love to see Erratic. And the sale for Erratic is going on. I mean, I'm a content affiliate. I get compensation from the team. I'm going to get stuff for running this event. But there is a sale going on. Just throwing that out there. Struggled against creep. Best murder wing counter. I think you're right, Druid. I think you're right. I think a lot of people have not recognized that yet. I do have a infographic for that. I wrote an article about Stabby, but I haven't written an article about Murder Wing yet. I was going to do Jar Cannon first. Actually, I was debating a video, but we'll see. We'll see. Spoiler alert. Actually, by the time these matches go up, it may already be up, one or the other. But anyway, Panic Point Advantage finally slides to our orange player, but the Erratic is now in position. We do have a trap line, which will be relevant for the sheep. But that's probably about it. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Article about Rocket Man, it's just people shrugging. I don't know. There would be a serious, I think people underestimate Rocket Man too. As much as I've struggled with it, I think there are people that overvalue it. No names, but, Anyway, so we get some repositioning here. We get a Woolly Bully, which is a little surprising. 5 keys to 6 keys remaining. The forces are roughly even. And we get the slide to cap the top right panic point and the follow-up heal from Clinico. It's a little surprising to see it go down now. The reason being is that, obviously, you have the potential for the sheep, unless all of these things vacate, which they're not going to. Blue player is going to allow the Erratic to get sheeped. And we get a follow-up Inoculus, leaving a single key, maxed out Phobies for blue player, but this is weird. While the Hevo got powered down, I guess they're just going to try and tank through it. Which I've said before is definitely a viable play, but as you can see, Gamer is pulling back all the remainder of their forces so that way you cannot leech too much life. You're going to get it off the sheep and that's it. Then you're going to try and suffocate the Erratic with the poison. Implied fart joke goes here. Alright, just doing some admin stuff, jumping back in. We see Hevo laying down the beats on this Ginsting Noxious, positioning threateningly. But we do now have a 4-to-1 panic point advantage with Woolly Bully in position. Obviously, the sheep threat is no longer there, but neither's the power down. At least not for a few turns. Rocket Man is a good counter in certain situations? Absolutely. Absolutely. I do not believe that any phobies are useless. It's just that some of them are going to have super niche applications. So we still have 6 keys left for our orange player. The Woolly Bully goes down, ultimately just capping a point, but now we have clustered phobies for this Erratic to feast on, which is relevant because, again, it needs to tank through 1,000 more damage. It would live through the poison, but you don't want it to live through with, a sliver of health. Oh, this is going to get messy. This is a lot of AoE. You get the splash here. You get the splash here. And then you get some beats going down on Ginsting. So Ginsting's dead. Murder Wing is dead. There's a Clinico that came out, but it just healed. No, it didn't. It didn't heal. I thought I saw the animation go off. So it could still heal this Noxious. This Noxious has its poison available, so it could go down up here. This Clinico will be able to heal next turn, but this is rough. Electricat is the final phobie. We've actually seen a variety of Electricats in this event. And they put in... I'm trying to think of the other one. I feel like that one was sacrificial, but I think this drew a concession here. So well played, both players. GG. Yep. That was a loss for Gamer on that map. So we're zoning into Vile Vortex. This is another round 3 game in Fright Night number 3. If you want to get involved, you've probably heard it 1,000 times, but check the links in the description. Hit up the Discord, hit up the live stream, follow me on Twitter, likes and subscribes. You know the deal by now. But we have Opulence zoning in the blue trunks and Smileyyy zoning in to the orange trunks. We get relatively standard openers. It's a little oddball that we didn't get one of the snowballs taking the mid, namely the first one. The second one probably was at risk, but we get Snowball plus Murder Wing consuming all the keys. We'll have to see. So we're jumping in. Other stuff going on. There's a lot of different balls in the air while we're trying to simultaneously run the event and talk about the event. And as mentioned, if you want to check out the event, hit up the other videos and the Discord. But we got Spud. We got a Spud coming in and a Cassowary. Only 5 keys here. All the keys consumed for our orange player with the Gin Sting and a cat. Neither player are very interested in playing the Scrooge McDuck role and going swimming in some keys. He didn't really swim in keys, but, you know, it is what it is. So we now have a primate. We're laughing about stuff that's happening outside the game review. So we get a primate, which actually we saw in one of the higher level game breakdowns, which should be on YouTube by now. If you want to see some high level breakdowns, I have been reviewing taking top ladder ladder players and reviewing their games and breaking it down. So definitely check those out. You can see it in the various playlists. But we see a primate come out, we see a Spud. Now we're finally getting a little banking going on. We got 6 for our blue player and 7 for our orange player. Klepto comes into the fray. This is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Count them, 6 Phobies. Shout out to the count. We only have 5 over here for our orange player, but both players still have room in order to commit another Phobie to the board. Now, it'll only be up to a 5 cost for our blue player. Well, now they could get 2 because cat got eliminated. And we see 6 of the 7 keys get invested in a orange Klepto. See, that's your first mistake, Honda. You're not going to make it. We have, as mentioned before, a whole bunch of players that are from all around the world. So shout out to all of the competitors in Fright Night, both past and especially present. And especially above and beyond that, players who are playing not in the US, because I know that it is absolutely bizarre hours for you. It is, as the kids say, demon hours. So shout out to you for toughing it out and thank you for coming out. But in the meantime, we're getting some follow-up, getting a little bankage going on, getting to 6 keys. Getting to 6 keys. Oh, it's because of my soothing voice, Honda. It's my soothing voice. The kids say demon hours. You've never heard that before, Lufee? Thought it was degen hours either. So we get some eliminations here. Are they crucial? I mean, this primate probably didn't need to die. What did this primate even get? Like, why was this primate here? But we get the primate elimination and then a Hematic Gin Sting, which I love Hematic Gin Sting. If I had it. I know Chad is going to push me if they make a Hematic Gin Sting avatar, then I'm going to have to get that on top of the Gin Sting avatar. But we get a fetch and a 3-2 panic point advantage for orange. This is a very spread game. Neither player seems very interested in diving and engaging with their opponent. There also notably aren't Crushmores, there aren't Gravediggers, no blocks or blocks. No blocks or blocks? No blocks or breaks in order to either open something up or lock something off. There's a bunch of lobs, which is notable, but no line attacks and few flyers. It's really just the Murder Wings. So down to the final 6 keys for our blue player. Our orange player, however, is sitting there with 15. The positioning here is weird. I have no idea why. I guess the assumption here from our blue player was that the Kerbloom was not going to get invaded by the Hematic Gin Sting, because why would they do that? I have 6 keys available, and I have 1, 2, 3 hits from there, 4, 5 from the jar, possibly something else. This could be a dead Hematic Gin Sting. That being said, all of this is going to be clustered for this Hevo follow-up. But there isn't much else that can follow up other than Hevo. Ooh, we get an opposing Hematic Gin Sting. Yeah, that's what I would expect, Honda. I would expect that avatar to be kind of pricey. So, in fact, you traded Kerbloom or Hematic Ginsting, and I don't have either of those, but I have to imagine that favors the Kerbloom player. I have to imagine. So we get a Yoink. We get a Yoink. Only a single key remaining for our orange player because Miss Moffat came online. We got the Spider, the guaranteed Yoink that you will get in your collection. You will get it in your collection. The batting point advantage continues for orange. Our blue player is just, I don't know what their obsession with this corner is, but they feel very comfy with this Spud all snugly tucked into the corner. I mean, sure. So Hevo has now rotated all the way to the top. Obviously, Hevo is, it's metal, and like a magnet, it's going to get drawn to it. So it's going for the cluster. We get an invade with the Klepto and the Ginsting for bees to get a takedown. Are we going to get a... No, we just get a point recap with the jar, which means that the jar is likely dead. Maybe not, because in order to do this, you're going to have to... this is going to get dicey. This is going to get dicey because you have the AoE, you have a bunch of things in range, you got a Yoink. I want Klepto so much, he seems good. Klepto is pretty good. It's weird, because I used to see Kleptos all the time, then it fell off for a while, and now I see it all the time again. So it looks like we're going to get a dead Hematic Ginsting. Are we going to get a dead Fetch? Not quite. Oh, maybe. Murder Wing comes in. That's in fact a dead Fetch. As mentioned, we're going to get a dead Hematic Ginsting, and we get a Muffin as the final key in order to get this Klepto back and into the game as much more healthy. So that was a lot of keys going down, but there are still significant forces remaining, but I would absolutely put the ball in the court of our orange player. As long as they don't manage to take too heavy losses here, we should be fine. Because everything's clustered now in order to try and punish this. You kind of have to be. So you get the Spider, you're going to get the Murder Wing, but now 4 out of 5 of your Phobies are going to get obliterated by this Hevo. Now, admittedly, I think they probably saw the writing on the wall. But GG. Well played. Smileyyy takes it down, as far as we can tell. Unless something insane happens on quite literally the last turn. Spoiler alert, it's not going to. But pretty cool. Pretty cool. Well played by both players on this new map. Definitely some exciting things that went down. But GG. Well played. That's going to do it. As always, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And Black Lives Matter.